I've come across a bunch of videos of late where the video maker criticizes Christians, and it is primarily Christians, about how they act as Christians. Now, granted, Christianity and Christians in general deserve a lot of criticism, but none of these videos ever really delve into why some Christians have these problems. And I think it's because it's an uncomfortable process to unpack the real problems of Christianity and Christian belief. So let's take a look at one such video and see why telling people about Jesus is a horrible thing to do.
So as a Christian living in the United States, I spend a lot of my time doing this.
Trust me, you're not alone. A lot of us atheists spend a lot of our time looking at the ridiculous crap that Christians spout and shaking our heads too. And that's not because what they're saying is embarrassing, although it certainly ought to be. It's because what they say is, by and large, just downright stupid. It's irrational, hyper-emotional nonsense based on wishful thinking and not an intellectual evaluation of the actual evidence. So, yeah, we all think they're stupid, but you still believe it. What's that say about you?
And you might think it's a response to the moral degradation of our country, but no, it's not.
Yeah, while I might agree with you that there's been a long, slow slide into moral degradation in this country, it really has very little to do with religion. Mostly it has to do with liberalism. Religion isn't particularly moral to begin with. I mean, it's given us priests diddling kids, extorting money from the poor under threats of absurd punishments after death, and neglecting the medical treatments of children because some imaginary friend in the sky will magic them into health. This leads to a lot of dead kids. Good morality your religion has right there.
No, I shake my head at the horrid methods my fellow Christians employ to try and change the hearts and minds of the people in this degrading society. I mean, whether we want to admit it or not, there are some truly bad, boo, boo, truly horrible.
Hi, I'm a complete stranger who was standing over there and noticed that you weren't smiling over here. Did you know that Jesus will make you very, very happy?
Here's a drug.
Truly awful ways to tell people about Jesus.
I'm honestly trying to think of any good ways to tell people about Jesus, or good reasons for that matter. Telling people about your ridiculous death cult isn't a good thing, no matter how you spin it. And yeah, there are a lot of really creepy ways to bring up the subject. I'm just stuck for any good ways or good reasons you want to pollute the minds of the general public with your ridiculous bullshit.
They make us look bad, and they make Jesus look worse.
How exactly do you make someone you can't even demonstrate actually existed look worse? I mean, seriously, who cares? It's like arguing that you're making Harry Potter look bad. Harry Potter, and for all we can tell through actual evidence, Jesus, are just fantasy characters. Who cares how they look?
Excuse me? As a Christian, are you saying that talking about Jesus Christ of Nazareth can be a bad thing?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Good, then knock it off. The less you crazy people talk about your irrational beliefs, the faster those beliefs will vanish from the face of the planet, and that's a very good thing.
If you aren't representing him well, then talking about Jesus can be a very bad thing.
You're only allowed to talk about Harry Potter in the best possible light. All praise the Potter.
See, what these people do is they get into their heads that because they're Christians, that makes them better than everyone else. Even though the whole point of Christianity is that you're so messed up that you just really need a savior.
And that's a bad thing. The idea that humanity can never do anything right, that they're always despicable sinners who will fail every single time they try to do good, so that they have to have an imaginary friend who forgives their sins, even though that imaginary friend set up the whole system so that they were destined to fail in the first place. Why is it Christians can't seem to figure this out?
So these people proclaim the gospel in a way that demeans, villainizes, and insults anyone who doesn't agree with them.
The gospel demeans, villainizes, and insults everyone. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not, you're still scum. That's a really great book you have there.
Did you know that you're going to H-E-double, I can't even say it, when you die? I bet you actually use that word because you're not a Christian and you cuss all the time.
I will honestly never understand those idiot Christians who can't even use the words they believe in. They can't even say things like gosh. They're incapable of communicating in any reasonable or mature way, and then they wonder why people think they're morons.
And then when they receive understandable negative feedback, they claim persecution.
Christian persecution, and unfortunately it's not limited to Christians, is a big business these days. The reason for this is because a lot of Christians, and the vast majority of those I'd say, think they're special because they have an imaginary relationship with a magical man in the sky. And they think this makes them better than everyone else, whether they're willing to admit it or not. Some of them are just more obnoxious than others, but I think the overwhelming majority suffer from this problem.
Have you ever lusted after a woman?
Dude, please stop. You're being a jerk.
He warned me you would do this to me. I'm being persecuted over here. That means I'm doing something right.
That's actually a pretty accurate representation of what I see every single day from these religious little snowflakes. That's actually a pretty good comparison to make. There's a lot of similarities between the whining religious right and the obnoxious political left. Both sides think that crying about their loss of political and social power makes them earn sympathy from those around them, when in reality it just makes them all a bunch of idiotic crybabies.
So they literally can do no wrong because if their methods work, great! But if they don't work, that's because they're not supposed to work, so it's fine?
Well, that's because a lot of modern Christians are just full of themselves. They think that believing in some farcical man in the clouds makes them special. And what it really makes them are jerks. And there's a lot of Christian jerks out there.
Boy, I wonder what would have happened if Jesus had such a loose definition of persecution.
Jesus, I hate to tell you this, but that Pharisee over there, he's been bad-mouthing you.
What? He won't even persecute me to my face? Oh, I'll set him straight. Excuse me, a little birdie over there told me that you don't believe in me. Is it true?
Yes, it is. I don't believe in you.
Well, your disbelief is starting to make me feel pretty insecure about myself. Stop it!
Ah, like the modern clergy, right? But the modern clergy has to claim that they have all the answers, or they'd be out of a job. So they have to control people and make them keep coming back to sit in the same pews every week so they can make money. If you tell everybody that they can get the same things out of reading the Bible, the churches will just go away. And that's a good thing.
So these people run around yelling hellfire and brimstone, trying to scare people into seeing the world their way, and then acting indignant when this isn't received well.
Oh, okay, guys, we're on the streets doing our Christian duties. Oh, here's somebody. Excuse me, sir. Are you a Christian?
Yeah, I am.
Say it loud and proud.
Yeah, I'm a Christian.
Okay, well, since you are, can you name 5 books of the Bible that are not the Gospels? I'm talking obscure.
But those kind of people are just stupid. And yes, I've seen that happen before. And they're just assholes. Why don't we just call them what they are? Assholes! Come on, it's not that difficult.
Sometimes I wonder if these people are reading the same stories about Jesus that I read. Because it seems like Jesus was more interested in getting to know people than he was in shaming them or winning a debate.
I don't believe in God. I believe in the Big Bang Theory.
Oh, yeah? I believe in the Big Bang Theory, too. My dad spoke, and bang! It happened! Oh, snap!
But you have to remember that a lot of these people you're talking about are young. They're young people who are influenced by things like, get this, YouTube, to act like complete assholes. Maybe you're contributing to the problem. You ever think about that?
In fact, I'm pretty sure the times he did get a little upset, he was mad at the people who claimed they had all the answers. He was mad at the people who were trying to control others. So when he was asked what's the greatest commandment, he didn't say,
Learn how to use Photoshop and create Facebook memes that defend me from the heathens!
Well, that's because Jesus, if Jesus ever existed in the first place, had no clue there would ever be a Photoshop.
No, he said to love God and to love your neighbor as yourself. And I mean, we can debate what it means to love your neighbor, but I've got to believe it's not this.
All right, Jesus, you ready for your check?
Oh, I'm just paying with cash, thank you. But listen, while I have you here, I'm not actually gonna leave you a tip. I'm instead going to leave you this informational pamphlet with details about how to start a relationship with me. Saves me a little money and you, your soul. Okay, bye.
And that's happened more than a few times. In fact, I've personally seen it happen on a few occasions where Christians try to use their Christianity, sometimes even on other Christians, to get away without paying the tab. But then again, a lot of these people don't really believe what they claim to believe. They say they're Christian, and I assume this happens in other religions too, to fit into the social club that is religion. A lot of these people, at least in my experience, They're pathetic losers who can't stand out on their own, so they have to find something or even invent something to make themselves look good to others. In some societies, that's Christianity. In others, it's Islam. But in all cases, it's ridiculous. Having an absurd belief doesn't make you special, except in the short bus kind of way. In fact, it makes you look like an asshole. Now, I'm glad there are Christians like this that recognize there's a problem, but they don't go nearly far enough. Just because you have rude, obnoxious Christians, you have to recognize that they're rude and obnoxious because their beliefs make them uncomfortable and awkward in life. So they run around and try to make themselves look better than everyone else because they feel like they're not actually worth anything. So ask yourself, why does religion tend to appeal to people who are generally pathetic losers? If you can figure that out, then maybe you can figure out why you have a problem. And you do have a problem. But that problem runs a lot deeper than some Christians being jerks. Good luck in finding the actual issue with Christianity, because once you do, you won't be a Christian for very long.